What's up, everybody, and welcome to the And Then Some Gaming Tournament #1 weekend turn. I'm B-Bomb from gl.int. Thank you for joining me. Sorry for the delays. First time running a tournament. Had some bit of a hiccup with the brackets, but finally we are gonna watch some Dota. And that is all what we are here to see. Anyway, this is Match Team Gamers League International and Team Boogie. I'm not too sure which team it is. I think it might be Team Magikarp or something like that. I'll have to ask them in the chat, but yep, we are finally into the bracket. This is a double elimination bracket for competing for almost $2,000 worth of prizes, whether it be in cash or cash/gear. So, shouts to the sponsors SteelSeries and Complet, but enough of all of that. Let's get into some Dota, guys. Wispan, very staring in the Western scene, although it's very interesting because in the Southeast Asian and the Chinese scene, Wisp is never played. But Gamers League International are a Western team. I think they have players consisting from the US and from various regions of Europe. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be a good showing as they're going to ban Cupid Light. So far, very staring bans. And keep in mind that this is one of the first tournaments, I'm not going to say the first tournament, but this is one of the first tournaments where Silencer is enabled throughout the entire patch. The tournament was just patched, or the tournament version was just patched yesterday, allowing Silencer into the Captain's Mode pool. But already we've seen some matches. I know Empire picked him up in a Star Ladder qualifier or something like that. I know Raid Call Dota 2 League is going on currently. They might have had some Silencer choices there as well. But we'll see if Silencer has any impact in this game. I think he has the potential to play a huge impact, especially against very, very combo-dependent lineups, whether it consists of Darkseer, Magnus, other heroes like that. But Gamers League gonna first pick up the Shout, even interesting pick, no Magnus, no Darkseer choice. And meanwhile, Team Boogie, which I again will have to ask their name, gonna respond with Darkseer, Nature's Prophet, some very strong split pushing right off the bat. We've seen a real resurgence in Nature's Prophet play. He has just become an absolute monster to split push, and people forgot about him. But now we are starting to see why Nature's Prophet is so annoying to deal with. And I think, I might have called this patch a bit too early, saying it's very top tier oriented, because we are starting to see some counters in play. I know for sure Barrett has not been nearly successful, and Bounty Hunter and Leshrac are either pick up by Gamers League International, so this indicates that rather than dealing with the split push, they want to go super aggressive early on, get some ganks, get some tower pushes going, and use that gold advantage to really steamroll the Nature's Prophet before he can really start to get going, because right now, against a Dark Spear, it's really difficult to win a team fight unless you have a ridiculous team fight on your own part, whether it be Magnus or Enigma. And it's super difficult to split push against a Nature's Prophet. So Gamers League International seems like they're going for more of a ganking lineup right now. And Leshrac, of course, very strong in terms of early tower pushes. Meanwhile, looks like Team Boogie gonna respond with Rubik. I always chuckle when I say Team Boogie because it just sounds boogie boogie boogie. But anyway, Rubik is gonna be a choice, and this is an interesting choice again. I think if Rubik can manage to get his hands on something like Track, it'll be really, really devastating for Gamers League International, because again, at this moment, just because that there is a Darkseer on the side of Team Boogie, if they manage to get some Track kills going, then it'll just be very, very difficult for Gamers League International to fight up against them if Track kills are picked up. So I think Rubik is sort of playing as an anti-bounty hunter in this game. And just judging by the lanes, right now we have two prototypical off-laner heroes, although Nature's Prophet can potentially solo mid or can go in the jungle. Meanwhile, Darkseer can pretty much do all the same, so it's very difficult to see how these lanes will go. One thing that I will have to call right now is that Rubik will most certainly be a support in the Shao lane. Meanwhile, on the side of Gaming League International, it seems like it's much more stable lane. Shouty and Leshrac will be laning together. Probably going to see a Bounty Hunter off lane, and that's why we are seeing carries and mid-souls being banned out by Team Boogie. Meanwhile, Gamers League International banning out carries and other teamfight heroes that can really, really just put a damper in their plan. Banning out Tinker, Nature's Prophet split push, probably the most annoying push to deal with in the game. Banning out strong carries and foreign lifesteal, banning out Magnus to ensure that there is no vacuum into RP combination that will really just put a hurting on everybody. Anyway, finally we are just waiting around for these last couple of picks. Queen of Pain was the ban, so they are recognizing that there is no mid-soul in the pool just yet for Gamers League to utilize. And again, this comes down to early game versus mid-game to team fight. Meanwhile, Gamers League going to pick up the Puck, so they're already going to pick a very, very difficult to kill mid-soul hero with a short cooldown on his ultimate. Can do pretty well in team fights, very difficult to kill, can split push somewhat effectively. Pretty much is very versatile, jack of all trades. But I imagine what they want to do with this Puck is get Blink Dire ASAP, then blink in, winning with the Rubik and the Darkseer if possible, and then try to take control of the team fight right there, because Puck, very strong as mid to late game hero if he manages to get his farm going. He's very momentum based. And if he gets shut down early on, it'll be difficult for him to come back, to say the least. But keep in mind, they do have a bit of an insurance policy in the form of that bounty hunter. If he does get some track kills, if Puck is already behind, Puck has a chance of getting back into the game. But so far, no prototypical carries being picked up just yet, as Bane is getting a choice by Team Boogie, so there is another component of their challenge. Could potentially go mid lane as well. It's really difficult to judge Boogie's lanes at the moment. This might actually be a mid-solo Rubik or mid-solo Bane and put Nature's Prophet in the jungle, because otherwise I don't really see how Team Boogie will lane this. And I just can't help myself, I gotta just say Team Boogie over and over again. You just gotta love that team name right there.
Alchemist.
And Gamers League International gonna pick up an Alchemist. And this is another really interesting choice. Synergize well with track. I mean, who loves gold more than Alchemist? I can't honestly tell you a person who loves gold more than that Alch. And one thing about Alchemist is that he does get farm faster than most carries. If they get early game pushes going with that left track, if they get early games going with the bounty hunter, if Alchemist is left by his lonesome for a bit, they will just get superior farm. So I think Gamers League International just playing for the gold game. And Alchemist is pretty good at counting split pushes in his own right. Acid Spray does do a number against Nature's Prophet. One thing that could be a problem is in the Feeble by Bane. Fiend Script, of course, could be an issue. And Darkseid, if he manages to clone the Alchemist while in that Chemical Rage form, it will be annoying for Gamers League International to deal with. But right now it seems like they're going for a very strong mid-game push. Wait for Alchemist to pick up one or two big items, which takes a lot faster than other carries in the game, other than maybe like Shadow Fiend, who can farm ridiculously fast. Alchemist is probably the fastest GPM farmer in the game. So if Gamers League International manage to protect their Alchemist, then they should be doing okay going into the mid-game. Meanwhile, it looks like Team Boogie thrown for a bit of a loop at the moment, and right now what Team Boogie is lacking is some sort of early game presence. They don't have anything to deal with Shadow Demon. No real strong anti-push either. Darkseid wants to get levels rather than counter-push, and they're going to pick up Juggernaut, a carry who does have some early game presence. Nightmare into Blade Fairy does synergize quite well if they manage to get Telekinesis as well. It's very strong laning, but he doesn't fare that well against the Alchemist. Alchemist is so tanky, can easily withstand Omni Slash. Healing Ward will be not that useful, especially when there's illusions being created by Shadow Demon's disruptions. So this seems to be more of a stopgap, and I think the true carry of this game for Team Boogie will be that Nature's Prophet. But anyway, the players are picking their heroes, as we have a little black square right there. I'm not too sure if that is a bug or something. But yeah, it's going to be probably Bane, Juggernaut lane, and Rubik mid. I imagine they want to get Spell Steal going ASAP. It's not really nearly as important to get that Fiend Script going as it is to get that Spell Steal going, just in my opinion. But yeah, we'll choose the players and the teams, as I should probably ask what these guys' names are. Anyway, gonna choose the players. The teams on Simon Gamers League. We have McDeath playing the Alchemist, Nicholas is playing the Bounty Hunter, King R is playing the Puck, Norman is playing Lushak, and Tipo is playing the Shadow Demon. Meanwhile, on the side of the Dow, we have Boogie +4, aka Rat in the Dark. I do remember it was Rats in the Dark. Boogie is going to be playing the Bane, Spin is playing the Nature's Prophet, Lapis is playing the Darkseid, Nowhere T is playing the Rubik, and Sifla is playing the Juggernaut. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure where these teams come from. Again, I think Gamers League International consists of a team mostly of European players with one or two American players here or there. I have heard of McDeath before from, I don't know if it was from Dota 1 or maybe from Frag by Thor Open Qualifier, but yeah, I've heard of that name at the very least. As we're waiting for the lanes to set up, Bounty Hunter already going invisible. It has that Stout Shield, so he can mitigate some harassment. Already using a bit of mana in the form that Shadowlock Darkseid is going to be in the offlane position. And the question is, for the raid, who's going to be in the mid solo? It looks like it is going to be the Nature's Prophet, so it's rather than a jungling Nature's Prophet, we're going to have a Trilon up top. And that will allow Nature's Prophet a lot more farm and experience potential rather than safe farm. But I think in this game, when you might have trouble in the mid game, I'd put personally Rubik or Bane just to sort of try to get as much experience as possible in the mid lane and let Nature's Prophet fend for himself in jungle. Actually, Nature's Prophet is just going to jungle altogether, and it's going to be Darkseid's safe lane. So they're going to completely abandon the Alchemist to his fate on the bottom lane. And this is already looking very good for Gamers League International. And again, I'm not too sure how the strategy will pan out because Alchemist just farms so much faster. It's really just going to come down to whether this Alchemist can last it. And you can see he's saving up for the fast Gloves of Haste. a build popularized by No Time to Load, get that fast gloves faced ASAP, and looks like they predicted the lane somewhat, saying that, okay, if there's a Dark Side on the bottom, you can't really approach the Leshak Shadow Demon combination, so we're just going to pick up an early point to Goblin Screen. Unfortunately, Creepy Gloom has been lost a bit, but it doesn't really matter too much because there is, in fact, nobody on the bottom lane to contest that Alchemist whatsoever. So I imagine this Alchemist will go for extreme fast hand and Midas, get his GPM rolling into the 1k mark very, very soon, and then all heck will break loose. As an interesting ward being placed, and this is exclusively to snipe the courier for the Nature's Prophet. And the question is, can the Prophet actually get that teleport up before the courier ships out that bottle? As just checking out the puck gold, already has 5 last hits, as he did not go for the fast bottle build, and that might come back to bite him in the ass. As Nature's Prophet will have the potential to teleport in and try to snipe that courier. I think that's pretty much the only reason why the sword is placed, unless they see, I guess, a rotation by his supports. But the sword's just going to pull it up and leave Bounty Hunter to his fate on that top lane. But just waiting for the courier. Does Puck actually know that this ward is here? That is the real question. As, keep in mind, he has not yet picked up his bottle gold, and Nature's probably just farming in the woods. He does have that teleport out, and I don't know if it'll be worth it trading the courier kill. Well, yeah, I guess it will be worth it, trading a courier killed for a first blood, especially since they might deny the Puck the bottle. But he will have to be very, very precise because he is very low in terms of mana, and he might just die for his sacrifice to try to kill the courier. But nice recognition by the Radiant, upgrading the courier, and pretty much making this ward a little bit useless unless they see some sort of crazy wraparound ganks. But I think the Radiant actually saw this ward, and that's why they sort of went for a bit more of a safer Puck build rather than going for that fast bottle. So if that was the case, very nice play by the Radiant, just to deny the opportunity from the Nature's Prophet to teleport back in and snipe that courier. And you can see Alchemist, he might just very well pick up a 3.5 minute minus, as he is lasting everything he can get his hands on. No Quelling Blade. Alchemist does have a bit of an annoying attack animation / damage, but when you're lasting against literally nobody, you will be able to last it every single creep, and you can see Goblin's Greed is being naxed. Interestingly enough, got 2 points of stun rather than point to Acid Spray. Acid Spray does help you to farm, and if you're being pressured by an Alchemist, or as an Alchemist in the early game, you can have the potential to go in the jungle and farm with that Acid Spray. But since he is literally farming against nobody, I guess Acid Spray is not really in his best interest. And besides, if he does pick up that fast hand minus, which I think that is the recipe for on the courier, it is flying in. Is that a minus recipe? It is. And once he picks that minus, he will have the experience growth going through the roof, so he will be able to pick up fast kills, and he'll be able to get the Acid Spray maxed out relatively soon. So right now, just considering the pace of the game, I think Rain had this, because they have a 3.5 minute minus on the Alchemist. What more can you want in life? I can't think of too much. Juggernaut just gonna farm up. I wonder if he's saving for Midas himself. Usually, sometimes see Battle Fury phase boots a bit more of an early game pressure build by the Juggernaut. You can't keep up in the gold intake compared to the Alchemist, as Alchemist does have that Midas finished up, and will just contentedly continue to farm. And we'll see what he decides to go for, whether it be a Pipe or a Vanguard, or maybe sort of a newer Alchemist build, which has been that Shadow Blade. It's been favored so much recently. That attack speed has really just given Alchemist a huge boost, and will allow him to charge up the stun. But again, I have not seen Gamers League International in action, so it's very difficult to say how this Alchemist will be utilized, as we're going to see some push going on by the Radiant. Nice recognition, saying that, okay, Alchemist, you're just going to farm up on the top, but we're trying to get some map control. But it looks like Bounty Hunter is going to be caught out in the middle of no man's land. The Blade Fury, unfortunately being blocked by the Creep's Telekinesis, is going to lift Nicholas back up into the air. Will he end up dying? Bane does pick up the last hit with that Brain Zap in this tower. Going to be under an immense amount of pressure. The Healing Ward is going to heal up Rubik all the while. Unfortunately, the Healing Ward does time out, but nice recognition by the Dire, picking up the first one, getting some early pressure, and try to say, what are you going to do about this Alchemist, because now we have a bit more map control, and it does help fuel Nature's Prophet gold intake, as he's going to go for Midas himself, and went for an early game Ring of Basilius, but now recognizing that Alchemist could potentially split push it up now that the top tower was being assaulted. Teleports into the bottom lane, and decides to contest the farm slightly. But meanwhile, Bounty Hunter being revealed by a Centaur. Bounty Hunter, just checking out the level, is level 3, so not having the best time. Centaur is being placed by the Dire supports, nicely done. but now the creep equilibrium is very much in favor of the Radiant heroes. You will be able to get a lot more experience as we're going to see a rotation around. Smoke gang is being attempted. They do have Sentry Wards in the picture if there is any counter ganks. As Spin very low into his manic. Teleport is not yet up off of cooldown. 60 seconds is that teleport cooldown as we're going to see a wraparound gank. Here comes the Alchemist stun, and Shao Demon might very well lose his life. He's going to self-disrupt himself. Nicely done. The question is, can he get the Illusion to tank? As the Split Earth was timed nicely, and Alchemist picks up a free kill with that Chemical Rage. And nice reactions by the Shadow Demon just to say, alright, I'm going to hold into disruption. We are going to tower dive very aggressively before Nature's Prophet has any inkling to teleport out. As we're going to see a rotation by the Darkseer. Already has Soaring as well as a Bottle Seal. Won't be lacking in mana anytime soon. But right now, Alchemist picking up a kill, having his gold intake through the roof. 500 GPM at this stage in the game is pretty ridiculous. Already has the phase boots, and his farm is just going to continue to spiral out of control. And if I was range supports, I'd try to do something like No Time to just stack the jungle. May get a couple points in the acid spray to help him clear out the jungle a lot more quickly. And then just go to town with the Alchemist to just get your farm up going ASAP, and then just completely bulldoze the Dire. As we're going to see a wraparound gank for the Nature's Prophet. Once again, Sprout is in the picture, but Dreamcoil and the Bounty Hunter is there to help secure a kill. Bounty Hunter finally takes some sweet revenge, getting some much needed experience and farm, finally hitting that level 5. No access into the track just yet, but keeping on that Nature's Prophet, who is pretty much the sole late game carrier on the side of the Dire. Juggernaut not really able to compete with Alchemist in late game, as Darkseer manages to die on the bottom lane all the while due to some chain stuns. But keeping Nature's Prophet down at this stage very, very important, and we'll see how Rain decide to react. Are they going to switch up the supports to rotate? It looks like they're going to try to pressure the top lane instead. Shadow Demon has 2 points in the Shadow Poison, can potentially do some counter pushing pretty well by himself. As Juggernaut going to apply the pressure with that Healing Ward. It is just level 1, but level 1 is pretty much all you need in these pushing escapades, as there is going to be rotation in by the Radiant. Level 2 Shadow Poison does do a decent amount of damage, as it's starting to be stacked up. The creeps are dying, going to pull the creeps off the tower, and this tower will be protected, not yet in deny range just yet. And all the while, Alchemist is happily firing to himself. Meanwhile, Nature's Prophet is just saying, screw these lanes, jungle is much safer, I'm surrounded by trees, let's get it. Meanwhile, it's very, very early on to pull on Golgraf, but since this Alchemist is farming so ridiculously well, only a slight gold advantage for their aim, but keep in mind they have not had the tower taken like the Dire have. And just checking out the last hits, it looks like Juggernaut is out in front in the last hits tab. One of the phase boots as well as the drums, going for more of those utility items before going into the damage. We'll see what he decides to go for right now, whether it be Maelstrom or Vlad's or something like that. Maybe Vlad's for some pushing, pretty strong item with the drums. But I think Juggernaut might want to focus a bit more onto his right-click DPS, otherwise a bit too much pressure might be applied from Nature's Prophet, as Calico Rage is popped. The teleport was cancelled, and then it's going to wraparound gank, because Puck has decided to join the party. Boogie is going to be the brunt of all the focus of the rain. Here comes the Glacier Orb. It does manage to whiff on Boogie, but the double damage by Puck able to pick up the kill. Now Rubik has to get the heck out of there. Soul Catcher is in the picture, Lightning Strike, and the last hit by the Rubik with the Shadow Poison going to pick up the kill, and Furion. Dang, that was a feed. That was a feed, bro. As Juggernaut now decided to join the party, completely out of mana, trying to right-click down. The Leshrac Edict is going on all the while, but this Juggernaut is so fast, able to pick up 1 rebuttal kill. But still, Furion died, Nature's Prophet died. Meanwhile, Darkseer trying to do some split pushing of his own on the middle lane. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on this Darkseer, as it always is in these games. Juggernaut doing his job, Nature's Prophet unfortunately not doing his job. But I think if the Dire want to make a comeback, they might have to start forcing some early game engagements. Otherwise, Alchemist might just become too out of control. Keep in mind, even though Darkseer could make wall replica illusions of the Alchemist, the Shadow Demon can pretty much do the same with Disruption, getting 2 beefy Alchemist illusions into the picture and just completely obliterate the Dire. As Alchemist is going to go for the Armlet. Going to give him a lot of attack speed, a lot of damage, and a lot of HP, and Alchemist is already a nightmare to bring down. And interestingly enough, Bane went for level 2, a nightmare rather than any points in Enfeeble just yet. Considering physical damage is not really at the highest at this point, you can sort of understand where he's coming from. But it might be soon for him to start picking up some points in Enfeeble. And if I were the Dire, I'd try to get some experience on this Bane. Rubik pretty much been sacrificed to the wolves, as Bounty Hunter is going to get lifted up in the air. 3-man Dream Coil, nicely done by the Puck. Can Bounty Hunter escape? He does do so successfully. Blade Fairy is in the picture. Puck is going to die. Looks like Leshrac is going to fall shortly after. Nice counter gank by the Juggernaut, as it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Bane ended up dying in exchange for 2 kills. So Dire trying to make some comeback. The question is, did the bounty hunter get a track kill? I don't think he did.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And with that, the Dire are going to go for a very early Roshan, as the Rain do have an Observer Ward there, but I don't think they saw the wraparound. They might have seen it. They know there is a Juggernaut with the Furin with the Healing Ward constantly healing up everybody on the side of the Dire, and there are pings pinging towards the Roshan. Very aggressive ward placed by the Rain, foreseeing that this might happen. And even if the Dire manage to escape, it's still a bit of wasted time where they could be farming. The question is, will Radiant actually decide to go in as a Centaur is being placed, Absorb being placed, but they do not know that there is an Absorb right there, and looks like the Radiant just going to not contest it whatsoever. I think it might be a bit of a mistake, but Alchemist is very low in terms of HP. I guess he was hesitant to pop the Chemical Rage, but already 11's in the game, minus Armlet Phase Boots. This Alchemist is starting to get out of control, but this Aegis will definitely help boost out the confidence of the Dire. And we'll see if they'll play a bit more aggressively as they have that Aegis up on the Juggernaut now. As we'll check out the early game goal graph, still slightly in favor of the Rain, Alchemist GPM. Casual 550. Keep in mind at this stage in the game, not nearly as many creeps as there would be in the late stages of the game. Can't really teleport all across the map to farm. So 600 GPM, very, very nice, as there's going to be immediate Omni Slash, Self-Disruption to help save the Lashak for just a bit, but the phase with the jump so high moon speed, Aspray going to come in, Puck with the Dream Coil going to catch up 2 kills, Juggernaut's going to explode in a burst of glory. Meanwhile, Darkseer going to go back to town with that Ion Shell. A tower was cleaned up in a 2-for-1 exchange, 3-for-1 actually, for the Rain, if you count the Aegis. So overall, nicely done by the Rain.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
As the Dire tried to make something happen, got a tower with that Aegis, lost the Aegis though. And it might be time for them to start thinking of other alternatives to team fighting, at least until a wall is leveled up higher. At least he has 1 point in the wall, so they have potential to team fight a bit more frequently with that wall up. But other than that, the Dream Coil has just been so critical in these engagements that it's very difficult for these guys to sort of maneuver around it. Meanwhile, Nature's Prophet suffering 0 and 3, only with a -2 to his name. Meanwhile, Alka's gonna charge in, gonna cast that Unstable Concoction. Nicholas and Macbeth gonna pick up a very easy track kill on the back of the Darkseer. Rubik trying to escape. The track is gonna help fuel that escape for just a bit. No, Leshak super fast, as Rubik did steal track. If he manages to escape that'll be a pretty big victory for the Dire, as Juggernaut is trying to approach into the battle. Gonna come in with that Blade Fury, a couple right clicks. Juggernaut so fast with that insane moon speed with the track, the phase boots, and the drum being used. All gonna help them to secure a kill. Alchemist is so low in terms of HP, he's gonna have to get the heck out of there. Might just have to pop his Chemical Rage just out of purely self-defense. Does have that armlet, but Puck is gonna teleport back in. Juggernaut just playing like a complete boss. Unstable Concoction does not matter when Juggernaut is Blade or magically immune. And Nature's Prophet going to push in. Alchemist does buy back very early on. Dream Coil going to catch 2 heroes, as the Healing Ward was the first target. And Nature's Prophet does teleport out of there. Meanwhile, Unstable Concoction is being charged up. Going to focus down the Juggernaut. Is he going to die right now? Fiend Script going down on the Shalodian. Can Juggernaut escape so fast? But he can't run, he can't hide from the track. And the Alchemist is moving at ridiculous move speed. Here comes the wall. Macbeth is going to be slept by the Bane, and there's no illusions to help him break him out of there. Meanwhile, Puck is on the retreat. Puck trying to do whatever he can. Alchemist going to charge up his Unstable Concoction once again, and the Radiant coming out ahead on this buyback. Looks like Darkseer is going to die as well. And now the Radiant definitely out in front. It was looking pretty grim after the Alchemist had to buyback, but that buyback into a triple very much worth it, as Alchemist going to charge up his stun. Nice dodge by the Juggernaut, but Alchemist says, I don't care. I think he was trying to do some armor toggling, but that constant DPS of the Blade Fury able to burst through that HP regeneration. So wow, a lot of chaos happening all over the map. But overall, I think it did favor the Radiant slightly, even though their 2 primary farms did end up dying. The fact that Nature's Prophet died once again, Juggernaut died, and Alchemist picked up a triple kill despite using buyback. Seems to me that Radiant came out ahead in that fight, although it's pretty difficult to say nonetheless. Goal graph ever so slightly in the favor of the Radiant. Keep in mind, Radiant are down just 1 tower. Experience advantage pretty much even across the board. So overall, looks like it's a pretty even game, but again, I'm very worried for this Alchemist, or for the Dire, because of this Alchemist. He will start spiraling out of control, and Puck had that dagger in this last engagement, was able to blink in from the trees, Get a nice Wind Rift and Dream Coil off onto 2 heroes. Definitely help turn around the assault. Meanwhile, what will the Dire do? It's very difficult for them to go with these engagements when Juggernaut is dead. And Juggernaut, interestingly enough, going for a Battle Fury. Not too sure how I feel about this because I don't know how much farming he'll get with a Nature's Prophet on his team. And usually you'd say, okay, Nature's Prophet is going to save his ultimates in teamfights, but I think in this case, Nature's Prophet is so underfarmed, and considering you might be relying on him heavily to deal with the Alchemist, as well as the Puck and the Leshrac in the late game, I'd say Nature's Prophet just spam your ultimate, try to get as much farm as possible, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you to come back. But I guess they're just going to use a Battle Fury and allow Juggernaut to try to carry it up versus the Alchemist. Dream Coil going to be casted. Darkseer is going to take the brunt of the damage. Darkseer is going to get lifted up in the air. Going to die to one last right click of the Puck. Meanwhile, Rubik falls shortly after. Acid Spray doing so much damage. Bane is on the offensive as the Sprout is going to trap the Shoudian. Going to try to tangle out of there, but unfortunately unable to tangle out there successfully. Shoudian can escape. Track going on the Nature's Prophet. Shoudian trying to TP out of there. One right click and a couple more right clicks by Nature's Prophet. Going to clean up the kill. And Macbeth going back in. That might cost him his life, but looks like Bounty Hunter was there to help out the Alchemist and not engage it, but Alchemist ends up forfeiting his life nonetheless. Very curious engagement taken by the Radiant right there. I think they initiated in, they thought they had an advantage with that Dream Coil and the Concealed Concoction immediately bursting down the Darkseer, but the mobility on the side of the Dire with that Nature's Prophet teleporting back in with the ridiculous move speed of the Juggernaut this stage in the game really helped turn the table around. So right now, 16-15, and despite me being so negative on the Dire, really difficult to say who has the upper hand at this point, especially since considering Alchemist. I know to pick up many big items recently. I know to really get his farm going because he's been dying so often. Meanwhile, the Dire just going to farm. Darkseer's finished up the Mecha. Juggernaut going to go for the Battle Fury. Looks like Nature's Prophet going to go for that Shadow Blade. Allow him to escape. Alchemist still saving whatever item he's going to go for. Keep in mind he is dying. He is saving up a lot of gold. Might be going for that Radiance build as Juggernaut does manage to kill off the Leshrac. I imagine to an Omni Slash as Dust Appearance. Going to catch out the Bounty Hunter. Telekinesis is going to lift him up into the air. Brain Sap doing a lot of damage, but Bane is going to back off, perhaps sensing the Puck. Dream Coil is in the picture, and the track is on, meaning that Rubik cannot escape despite being invisible. And interesting that Bane backed off, but I guess he decided, alright, better not be 2 for nothing. Just going to sacrifice Puck, or sacrifice the Rubik to the Puck rather than both of us. Just checking out the GPM 625 up on the Alchemist, starting to get his GPM rolling. Net worth heavily in favor of the Alchemist, but he has bought back a couple times so far. Hero levels, Juggernaut is out in front of the leaderboards. Checking out the experience graph, pretty significant experience advantage towards the Dire. You can see at 18 minutes in the game, you wouldn't expect all these levels to be, or all these heroes to be so highly leveled, but that speaks to the fact that there are in fact 33 kills in this game thus far. And there is going to be an attempt to try to assassinate this Alchemist. Does he sense something's up? Shoudian is in the picture.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And Dire not going to engage successfully. Realize that's probably a bait. And look at these wards by Radiant trying to spot out all the movement on the Dire. Trying to keep their Alchemist, their Puck, their Bounty Hunter all safe. Not playing aggressive, saying that, okay, we'll just try to take it to the late game despite them having slightly better early game in my opinion. But that is allowing Nature's Prophet to start getting back into the picture. Now with the Shadow Blade, we'll see what he decides to go for, whether it be Orchid, Crit, pretty much anything Nature's Prophet wants, he can get. And a push is going to be made, and there is going to be no defense mounted by the Radiant. Can they get a tower trade? This tower is still at full HP. I don't think they can get a tower trade, so interesting maneuvers by the Radiant. They're just going to sacrifice farm for towers. As Alchemist spent a lot of gold. Going to go straight up AC. Going to help a lot against right click of the Nature's Prophet and the Juggernaut, as well as increasing the armor. Keep in mind Juggernaut's Omni Slash does do physical damage, even though I'm not too sure if it's constant physical damage or if it varies on armor. A little bit of a mechanics question that I'm too scrubby to realize. But it's going to be a 2-for-1 tower trade thus far. Mid tower is going to be saved by the Darkseer, so 2-for-1. And this tower not really that important for the Dire. Meanwhile, these two towers pretty important for the Radiant. Can definitely help the Radiant position themselves for Roshan engagements, as now they have a really long path to try to take down the Roshan. Have to pretty much teleport into this middle tier 2 or to this bottom tier 3. And the Dire managed to get some wards up. They should be able to take Roshan relatively for free, as there might be a gank attempt. AC has been finished by the Alchemist. Blink Dagger still up on the puck. Check out them. Shadow Team does have their king. It's going to blink forward, try to catch out the Juggernaut. Can he blade free either? With silence, track is going to go down, but Alchemist does not care. Going to right click people to death, going to stun himself, but Nature's Prophet is going to be Soul Catcher as well as Disruption. Trying to escape, does have a Shadow Blade, no detection being casted. Nicholas trying to chase the direction Nature's Prophet is going in, but Nature's Prophet just going to remain a little bit too elusive, but a nice vacuum. The question is, can anything happen after that? Rubik going to steal one of the spells. I think he stole the Unstable Concoction. Alchemist trying to run away. Alchemist like his life depended on it, because it does, as the illusions of the Alchemist, some Alchemist on Alchemist action going on. And the Dire, fascinatingly enough, are coming out ahead. Puck going back, gonna snipe out the Rubik, but will end up paying for it with his life. Won't be able to blink out. It's gonna be a 3-for-2 trade, and the Dire able to come out ahead. I think it would have been different if the Radiant didn't try to take that engagement at the Dire tier 2, allowing Dire a lot easier access to reinforce, and that tower pot shot damage definitely hurt the Alchemist quite a bit. So maybe that'll help. Hopefully that'll sort of indicate to the Radiant, okay, we can't dive in just sort of super aggressively with this Alchemist despite him having an AC. And Dire have even up the kill count. Gonna go for the Roshan. It is up, and there are some Dire wards in the picture. They're gonna teleport in, and the Radiant really can't reinforce. The Alchemist is dead for 10 seconds longer, and by the time he makes his way back there, I think Roshan will already be dead. Juggernaut already going to work with that Battle Fairy, and Yasha, he's getting really farmed really quickly. And the healing ward is coming in. Nature's Prophet has decided to join the party, so despite me having complete favor towards Radiant in the beginning stages of this game, the Dire has made a very valiant comeback. And that's going to be another Aegis for the Juggernaut. But Radiant still have a shot. BKB is going to be up on the bounty hunter. Anything that goes through BKB, only if Fiend Script goes through BKB, and of course Omni Slash goes through BKB on the side of the Dire. I think if the Radiant manage to total themselves out a little bit longer, they can try to get some items. They just can't go super aggressive for these engagements, as they're going to charge the Unstable Concoction with the Smoker to see. Going to stun the Rubik, doing half HP, immediately cleaning off the Rubik, so whatever team looks like they have the advantage immediately just gets turned around, as Rubik is going to die. And the question is, will this tier 1 follow him shortly, as there is going to be split pushing. Nature's Prophet starting to make his map presence felt, and this is why we've seen a resurgence in Nature's Prophet play as of late. Gonna go for the Orchid. Could be Refresher, but probably Orchid. Try to silence somebody like the Puck or Alchemist when he's charging up and releasing the stun. And Alchemist, interesting enough, not going for a BKB at this point. Might just be holding onto some items, saving that BKB. But as it is, Radiant being completely outclassed in terms of map control. As it is, Darkseer going to be tracked, as well as Waning Rift. Dream Coil and Stale Concoction immediately going to burst out in Darkseer, so now Dire throwing the game away, and Juggernaut just going to say, "What's up guys, here I am, come kill me." But he has the Aegis, so the Radiant not going to bite. They are just going to claim a tier 1, be very happy with that, so they picked up 2 kills for nothing in the past 2 minutes. So both teams making some mistakes here and there, but so far it's super difficult to say which game or which team this game favors thus far. As Nature's Prophet going to claim himself a tier 2 tower, and that means only one outer tower remains on the map for the side of the Radiant, and that means Nature's Prophet will have the potential to teleport in, get some backdoor going if a team fight does go wrong. A goal graph, slightly in favor of the Dire. I imagine it'll take a slight upswing, as Tourette is the call by Gamers League. I think that was a reference to the Nature's Prophet. Meanwhile, it looks like the experience graph slightly in favor of the Dire. Levels, you can see the Radiant support suffering a bit. Bounty Hunter really not having his impact felt at this point. Does have 8 assists, so managed to get himself a healthy amount of track kills. But at this stage in the game where Bounty Hunter can't really fuel his track and really just wants to lead the farm to the Alchemist, the Puck, and the last track, it's very difficult for Bounty Hunter to sort of find his niche in this place of the game. Niche! God, can't even pronounce the word properly. Juggernaut just baiting it out with the Aegis of the Immortal. But the Radiant Centaur did spot out the movement of that Bane. So Radiant not too eager to take this team fight. Aegis will be online for the next 3.5 minutes. So Dire don't have to play too aggressively, as there is going to be pause. First pause of the game. It isn't really a Dota game unless there's a pause. But yeah, just looking at the items, Rubik with Arcane Boots level 11, not able to steal too many significant spells at this point. Looks like Darkseer is going to go for that Shiva's Guard, reduce the DPS of the Bounty Hunter as well as the Alchemist. Keep in mind that Acid Spray does hurt the Bounty Hunter or the Darkseer quite a bit with that minus armor. Darkseer pretty tank, but the Acid Spray with the silences will just melt at him, especially in conjunction with that Soul Catcher. Darkseer might not even stand a chance in these engagements. Shadow Demon playing looks like the 4 role as he has a couple more items than the Leshrac hasn't earned, so overall it seems like they're splitting the farm pretty evenly. Alchemist, we'll see what he decides to go for. I think he might be setting up for a BKB at this point, as that'll definitely help him to survive a lot of these engagements a lot better. Has 4 deaths despite being very, very tanky, but we'll have that BKB up in right now if he does decide to buy it. Meanwhile, Nature's Prophet finishes up the Orchid. Gonna silence a very key target, whether it be Alchemist charging the stun, Bounty Hunter, Puck, anybody who can silence would be a very great benefit. Well, maybe not the Bounty Hunter, but everybody else. Alchemist continuing to save a lot of gold. Buyback and some other item, not too sure. Bane trying to go for that BKB. Nothing on the side of the rain does go through that BKB aside from the Demonic Purge. Smoke to see gonna be popped by that Dire, but immediately, or it looks like Juggernaut just was not in range of that. They're gonna try to make something happen with the stages. It is gonna time out in about 2.5 to 2 minutes. Juggernaut with the Manta Style, no gold in the bank. Does he have anything on the Courier? No, so they just want to go in with this Manta Style, try to make something happen. They're just probably gonna teleport in, join the party. And Rain think that there might be a smoke gank for that haste rune, but they are going to be out of position. Rancor does end up dying as the Centaur is going to try to spot the positioning of the Dire. The smoke has been dispelled. I think it just wore off, but here comes Alchemist, going to charge up his stun. Going to initiate on the Nature's Prophet. Can he get the Orchid off? No, he cannot. And Alchemist with that BKB going to go to town. Omni Slash doing absolutely nothing, doing actually a significant amount of damage as Juggernaut in the midst of everything. Here comes a nice vacuum wall combination, but Darkseer is forced to retreat. Alchemist so fast to the track, trying to go to work on this Darkseer. Darkseer can have no other option aside from run, but you can't run, you can't hide from this Alchemist. He is on your ass, and he is going to make sure you suffer as McDeath picks up a triple kill. Nature's Prophet picking up a kill in the background. Gem has been dropped as it's going to be a 3-for-2 exchange. Juggernaut, did he lose his Aegis? Juggernaut picks up a kill himself. Juggernaut still has the Aegis. Alchemist, can he actually solo the entire enemy team? Picks up an ultra kill, but he has to run for the Juggernaut who still has the Aegis. Armlet is going to give him a lot of bonus HP. Can he Armlet toggle? No, the Treant's trying to block him, do so successfully, and it's going to be a 5-for-4 exchange. Or I guess just a 4-for-4 exchange because Puck apparently never died. I don't think he bought back either. But Juggernaut managing to survive with that Aegis Immortal, so Juggernaut, despite me underrating him as a hard carry, says you are completely wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about, B-Ballin. I'm just going to carry this game to victory. Focusing down all the appropriate targets, saying, alright Alchemist, you can chase our Darkseer halfway across the map. While you do that, all your supports are dying. But now Aegis will be out of the picture. It will expire very, very soon. And the question is, do Rank have enough momentum to sort of, or do the Dire have enough momentum to fight without that Aegis? They do have a long cooldown on the wall. Meanwhile, the Dire can take much more frequent engagements. Only Dreamcall has pretty much the longest cooldown inside. But Alchemist is still dead. Furion getting juked by these Nature's Prophet teleports constantly.
Fear is swift.
GPM Alchemist approaching that 700 GPM mark. Keep in mind he was dead for the past 40 seconds or so. And the Rain Courier did die. I don't think it was carrying anything. Alchemist did just buy his BKB before that huge engagement, so I don't think it was carrying any of his items. We'll see if Binary decides to go for something like a Vlad's. Will help the Alchemist and himself by quite a bit. But as it is, Dire, they don't want to take this game to the late game. They just want to keep pushing in. They have that level 2 of the wall up. Shiva's Guard will be online relatively soon. They should probably wait for that to be online at the very least. Especially without the Aegis, it's very difficult for them to push in against the Acid Spray into a Puck. BKB gonna be the next time for the Bane, like I mentioned, but still relatively far away. Still about 2,200 gold away. And Puck gonna go for the Hex. Getting pretty close, only about 900 gold away himself. If Puck manages to get a Hex, it'll just become a lot more difficult for the Dire to fight. No BKBs up on any of their heroes thus far. Question is whether Puck will just go straight up for that Hex or will he save for buyback. If I were Puck, I'd just be saying, screw it, I have the dagger as long as I play perfectly. I probably should not die to these guys. Just be greedy, go for the Hex, but I'm just a greedy player in general. Dire, very difficult for them to find an opening. They can split push all they want in Nature's Prophet, but the creeps die and give so much extra gold to that Alchemist. Pretty much a stand creep wave for the Alchemist gives him 200 additional gold with that Goblin's Greed, if not more. As they are going to smoke up, that was a Radiant Observer Ward, so the Dire have no knowledge of the smoke. The question is, will they be caught out of position? Darkseer, do you have your Shivas up just yet? Still the same amount. I guess he just bought his recipe. Oh, the Radiant are coming in with the smoke. This could be bad news very, very soon. As Juggernaut might be caught out of position, gonna get Silence, gonna do a nice match with Dispel Silence. Shadowdoom gonna take a lot of damage. Fiend Script going on. The Alchemist did not have his ult. No, he did have his ultimate pop, but he's just gonna get focused down. He is gonna die. Can he buy back and get back into the fight? As Nicholas the Bounty Hunter running for his life. As can they escape? Darkseer gonna surge the Juggernaut forward. First hit bash, too good. As Juggernaut just picked up the basher. First hit bash OP. As Alchemist no money for buyback apparently. And that is going to cost them a huge loss in that engagement. Alchemist does have buyback, but I guess he doesn't want to take the fight. He's going to have to buy back. Leshrac no buyback, Shadowdoom no buyback. But in order to save the racks, Alchemist will have to buy back. Didn't use the BKB because he was Fiend Script. I think the Radiant could probably defend this. The wall has been expended, Omnislash has been expended. As track is going down onto their back, here comes Unsealed Concoction being once again adeptly Blade Fury dodge as Enfeeble gonna go down to the Alchemist doing a lot less damage. Does have the BKB as a nice Nightmare gonna temporarily save the life of the Nature's Prophet. Look at Juggernaut with the bashes trying to cleave through this Alchemist. It's gonna be a one-on-one man fight and Juggernaut is gonna be the first one to blink. Is he gonna die being held in place? Is Bane doing so much work with the help of the Rubik? Alchemist is gonna die as that is gonna be super bad news. Nature's Prophet just gonna buy back, teleport back in, and this is gonna be an middle barracks for the side of the Dire. And wow. Puck is gonna buy back. I don't think they can defend the racks, but they are gonna prevent the Dire from getting an additional racks as Juggernaut, that healing ward doing so much healing in the background. Really difficult for the Radiant to try to get access into that, to try to dispel the damage. Look at Puck taking so much damage with the Orchid on top of him. And Puck actually dies to the soul burn damage. Very, very difficult to dispel that. Duration of the silence so long. And that is going to mean middle barracks. Keep in mind, Puck did buy back. Juggernaut does somehow manage to kill off the Leshrac, I guess with a Manta Illusion? Not too sure. And with the Puck out of the picture, it's going to mean a second rack. Alchemist is going to respawn in 19 seconds if the glyph is down. This middle, or this top barracks will end up dying.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
And in one swift blow,
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Dire are going to take a massive leak. Keep in mind, it's so difficult to come back from a huge deficit like this against Nature's Prophet. Will constantly keep your creep waves pushed. Nicholas going to BKB up, but the Sprout does keep him trapped in place. Are they going to chase the Bounty Hunter? No, they're just going to get the heck out of there. Track is in play on a multitude of heroes. Alchemist is back in the fight, trying to make something happen, but Nightmare is going to slow down the assault. Vacuum into the wall as Alchemist is going to create an illusion of himself. Alchemist trying to man up against everybody, but he can't do it by himself. Straight back in the picture. Maybe Alchemist can in fact do it by himself. No, Nature's Prophet actually dealing significant damage in the background. Alchemist dies yet again, and this is looking super grim. Nicholas disconnects from the game. Alchemist disconnects from the game. GG's called by Tipo. And the Rats managed to take a very exciting game from Gamers League International. 62 kills in 34 minutes. I think what ended up costing Gamers League is that they just put too many resources into one basket. And if I were the Puck, I'd just be greedy, try to go for the Hex rather than buyback. But that didn't really honestly matter in the end. And as it is, Gamers League going to be sent to the losers bracket of the And Then Some Gaming Tournament. They will have another shot at this very, very soon. But the Bad Rats
Radiant's
gonna move forward. I don't know if it is the Bad Rats. Rats in the Dark gonna move forward. Boogie +4. And even the Mighty Juggernaut managed to surpass the Alchemist in the end in GPM. So wow, what an intense, exciting game. Very, very difficult to say who had the advantage. But as it is, the Dire are going to take a nice victory, going to move forward in the And Then Some Gaming Tournament for another step closer at the $2,000 worth of prizes and cash for the winner of the tournament, or the top 2 finishers of the tournament. So thanks for watching. I'm B-Ballin. Please follow me on Twitch and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.